We're swimming in a world that's just overflowing with data. And because of that, finding the actual truth, it's getting harder and harder. Now, if you're an investigator or a compliance officer, this isn't some deep philosophical question. It's your daily grind. This is the world of enhanced due diligence, or EDD. It's where knowing what to trust and what to toss can literally be the difference between safety and total disaster. So let's dive in and break down how the pros really get it done.
So, what actually happens when this all goes wrong? Well, just take a look at these recent headlines. We're not talking about small-time companies here. These are major players like Starling and Monzo getting slapped with fines that add up to 50 million pounds. And the reason wasn't just one little mistake. Nope, it was a systemic breakdown in their financial crime systems. This really shows that for any modern business, the stakes of messing up due diligence, they're not just high, they're becoming existential.
The message coming from regulators couldn't be clearer. Getting this stuff wrong has never, ever been more expensive. But the cost isn't just about the money, is it? It's also paid in lost reputation, in shattered client trust, and honestly, in real damage to the integrity of our entire financial system.
Okay, so what makes this so incredibly difficult? Well, picture this. We're all trying to navigate this giant, confusing maze of data. The biggest challenge we have today isn't that there's not enough information. It's that we're literally drowning in it.
Yeah, these right here, these are the daily headaches for pretty much any investigator. I bet this list looks familiar. Way too much data, nowhere near enough time, and of course, key documents in languages you don't speak. You're trying to keep up with geopolitics that shift by the hour, all while facing this immense pressure from regulators. But the one thing, the core challenge that really ties all of this together, is figuring out how to turn that mountain of raw information into sharp, actionable intelligence. That's the whole game.
When you're facing all that complexity, it's only natural to start looking for some kind of silver bullet, right? And today, the big question on everyone's mind is, can AI just solve all this for us? And believe me, it is a very tempting idea, but the reality, it's a lot more complicated than that.
And that really gets to a crucial truth here. Before we even think about touching the technology, we have got to have the right foundation. The most powerful investigative tool you'll ever have isn't a machine, it's the mindset you bring to every single search.
So the starting point for all of this is as basic as it gets. We have to go all the way back to the fundamentals, back to our ABCs. And no, this isn't just some cute little memory trick. This is the absolute foundational mindset for any investigation that hopes to be credible.
So what does ABC actually stand for? It's this: assume nothing, believe nothing, and check everything. It's a simple mandate, really. It means you approach every single document, every claim you read, and every little data point with a healthy dose of professional skepticism, at least until you can prove it for yourself.
So, why is this mindset so critical? Well, because let's be honest, people don't always tell the truth. In the world of due diligence, you're not just dealing with honest mistakes or typos. You are actively on the hunt for information that someone, somewhere, is probably trying very hard to hide from you.
Okay, so if we start by assuming nothing, how in the world do we decide what's okay to trust? This is where a framework like the shame model becomes your best friend. Imagine you find a negative article about your subject. First, you check the source. Is it a major newspaper or some anonymous blog? Then, history. Was this thing published yesterday or 10 years ago? Accuracy. Are there real, verifiable facts, or is it just a bunch of vague accusations? Then, match. Can you find at least one other independent source saying the same thing? And finally, emotion. Is the language neutral and factual, or does it feel like it's deliberately trying to get a rise out of you? This little 5-step check is an incredibly powerful filter.
So, with that mindset locked in, now we can finally turn to the tech. Let's talk about how to actually tame the digital tools of the trade: OPSEC, smart searching, and yeah, how to use AI without getting totally burned.
First things first, your own security. Smart operational security, or OPSEC, is completely non-negotiable. This means using a dedicated browser to block trackers and, this is a big one, keeping your investigative work completely separate from your personal life. Seriously, never use your own social media for research. It's the absolute fastest way to tip off your subject that they're being watched. And a good VPN? That's not a suggestion, it is a requirement, period.
Okay, let's talk about finding information. The single biggest mistake you can make is assuming that Google is the internet. It's not. It's a filtered, personalized bubble that's shaped by its own algorithm. Any pro knows you have to step outside of it to see the whole picture.
And this is how you break free. Using other search engines isn't really about avoiding Google, it's about getting a different perspective on the world.
DuckDuckGo gives you privacy. A tool like Yandex is absolutely essential if you're doing research in Eastern Europe, because it just indexes regional sites way better. Each one gives you a different lens on the web, giving you a much more complete picture than any single engine ever could.
Which brings us right back to AI. So how is it actually different from a search engine? Well, think of it this way. A search engine matches keywords and just gives you a long list of links to read. An AI, on the other hand, understands the meaning behind your question, what we call semantic search. You can ask it to find connections between company A and politician B, and it will give you a direct summary. It's an absolutely incredible time saver, but it comes with a major hidden risk.
And that risk is what people are calling AI hallucinations. And believe me, this isn't some theoretical, far-off problem. We have seen lawyers in court citing legal cases that were completely made up by AI. These systems can invent facts with this incredible, unwavering confidence, which makes them dangerously unreliable if you just trust them blindly.
So how do we use these amazing tools without getting hurt? Well, you have to be the boss. You don't just ask a question, you give it a command. Your prompts need to work like a strict research protocol. Don't just ask for a profile of a company, command it to summarize findings from 3 independent sources and highlight any discrepancies. Don't ask for its opinion, demand direct citations from official court filings. You have to stay in control.
So after all this talk about AI and search engines and all these advanced techniques, what do you think is the single most powerful tool in any investigation?
I think this image just says it all, doesn't it? Technology is powerful, it's transformative, but it can also be fragile and pretty incomplete. As we've seen, it can be biased, and sometimes it can be just plain wrong. It's only ever a part of the solution.
Because the single most important, most powerful, and most effective tool in any investigation is you.
And why is that? Well, because a tool can't apply that ABC mindset, but you can. An AI isn't going to use the shame model to figure out if something's credible. You do that. It's your curiosity that asks the right questions: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Technology is just an amplifier. It's a way to magnify your skill and your judgment.
And this quote right here is the perfect way to wrap this all up. Automated tools are a useful starting point, but they are not a substitute for human judgment. So the question I want to leave you with is this: are you using these tools to sharpen your judgment, or are you letting them substitute for it?